To my left is Kevin Williams. He's chairman of the DNA Association. I will introduce him like this. There are very few people that I know who know the out-of-home entertainment business like Kevin Williams. He runs the Stinger Report. He's a professional consultant. He's got a history with Disney. I can't say enough about Kevin. But the thing is, if you want to know about location-based entertainment, what was that, John?
Go ahead and try.
Go ahead and try.
He's gonna try.
So let's give a big, oh, by the way, another thing, Kevin traveled all the way from Europe to join us today. So let's give him a big round of applause. Oh, one more thing. You see, I told you, I can't say enough. Kevin was at the very first Immersion about 5 years ago. So it's 5 years today. Well, not exactly that. He's been to Immersion. So again, another reason to give him applause.
Sucker for punishment. Thank you very much, Neil. That's very kind of you. And can I just congratulate you, excuse me, and everybody else involved on Immersed. I know how difficult it is to organise these things and to get this calibre of speakers, except for myself, of course. It's really heartfelt, and I'm looking forward to hearing some of the other presentations this afternoon and tomorrow. Anyway, who am I? Other than a man with dodgy hair and a bad ego. The issues are quite simple. I work in the out-of-home entertainment sector, and I specialise in immersive technology. That's what I've been doing all of my career. My parents made it very clear to me, rather than getting a job, that I should get a vocation, something that would get me up in the morning. And I am very lucky that I work in an industry that is so vibrant. My background, I have done quite a few things. I've worked in the amusement industry, the simulation, the sim sector. I am an ex-Walt Disney Imagineer for my sins, and some of the presentations you saw earlier this morning talking about Disney Quest. Disney Quest was one of the projects that I worked on while at Imagineering. Now I run KWP. KWP is quite simple. We're a consultancy. We work with operators and developers of immersive entertainment facilities. And I also run something called the Stinger Report, which is a scurrilous news service. And if any of you would like to receive copies of the editorials we do, then give me your email at the end of the event and I'll put you onto the subscription. Anyway, enough about me. These are some of the companies that we consult with or have consulted with. We work majoritively with companies that are either breaking into the out-of-home entertainment market or companies that have a product that they want to get into the market. And the differences are, an operator is really here to generate revenue. And out-of-home entertainment business, the arcade business, the theme park business, hasn't changed. It is a fundamental construct of trying to create an experience that someone is prepared to pay for. And the phrase you'll hear a lot is the experience economy. We are here to make sure that people have a good time and that they come back again. So repeat experience, we want them to come back again, but also we want them to have a good time while they're with us and tell their friends. I've said the word out-of-home entertainment quite a lot. I'll try and explain what I mean roughly by out-of-home entertainment. For the colorblind, the big green blob at the top is really the amusement industry, the pay-for-play industry. The purple blob next to that is the theme park and entertainment sector, the resorts, visitor attractions. The yellow blob is the fitness, the edutainment, the exergaming sector, and then we have the orange blob, which is retail and hospitality. And normally when I did this presentation a couple of months ago, I would have said there's two grey blobs. The one at the top is the digital out-of-home consumer games entertainment sector, and the one below that is the casino industry. And I treated them as outside of the market and really not part of our market. We were impacted by them, we utilised their product. Well, over the last couple of months, we've been doing a lot of work with the casino industry, the resort, the land-based gaming industry. They now want to pull the millennials into their facilities, and I'll show you some slides in a minute to show you how they're doing that using the technology we're talking about. So, you've been hearing a lot of people talking over the last couple of hours about the history of the sector. From my point of view, immersive entertainment can trace its roots all the way back to the Kino machines and the What the Butler Saw systems, where we've had the Pepper's Ghost approaches, we've had CinemaScope, we've had Sensorama, Star Tours, and even the last time that virtual reality tried to make a stab into the mainstream. I worked back in the 90s on the first applications of VR for arcade and theme park amusement, and the system right there in 1997 is the Disney Vision virtual reality headset system that was created for Disney Quest and all of the VR experiences that were developed. So from my point of view, you know, nothing is new, it just changes the wrapper that it comes in each time. And so in 2011, when VR appeared on the horizon again, when Sony made its investment and then we had the Kickstarters, it was kind of, here we go again. And one of the fundamental things that I've been doing from a consultancy point of view is trying to stop people making the same mistakes that we made in 1996-7 now, because yet again, really where the money is, really where the real business is for virtual reality is in out-of-home entertainment applications. I know it wasn't trendy a couple of years ago to say that when I had the pleasure to present it almost the first time. You know, I was this weird guy from a weird industry that no one quite understood or wanted to know. You know, everybody thought that VR was going to be in the home, and sadly, it ended up out of home. Really, that's where the money is being made. We'll be hearing some other presentations later on that underline that situation. What's the difference between what happened in the 90s with VR and what's happening now with VR? The mobile phone. The ability to scale down the screens, the ability to use microcomputing, the ability to have micro-tracking systems means that rather than putting a shoebox on your head, as we had to do in the 90s and get a really bad headache, we can now scale the technology down to the size of very expensive skiing goggles. And even with that small scale, there's still issues with putting something on your head when you're talking about the out-of-home entertainment market. I'm going to zip through some of this. This is how we categorize the current motion of the sectors. We put it into phases. The first phase is really the passive experience. You sit in a motion seat, you put a head-mounted display on, and you're taken through a narrative experience. It's very similar to the 4D theatre business, but using a personalized head-mounted display to achieve that immersive level. And the Chinese sector is now looking at moving away from traditional 4D theatre seating and going for a much more immersive, full motion immersive viewing experience, again using a head-mounted display. We have motion-based systems that have been currently deployed in the 4D theatre market but are now being used as VR systems. And then the amusement industry, which is still alive and kicking, it's just now a construct of the entertainment sector. They're now looking at how they can deploy virtual reality entertainment systems in the same metrics as they're used to for video arcade systems. We have a very successful product from our friends at LAI Games, where they've taken a successful, recognized intellectual property, IP, the Rabbids brand from our friends at Ubisoft, and they've turned it into a simple and easy-to-operate VR ride experience. And you're going to see a lot of this from the presentation I'm going to be going through. It is the marriage of a recognized intellectual property with new technology to give a unique experience that can't be achieved at home. This is a pattern you'll see. If you have a roller coaster and it's getting a little tired, rub a little bit of virtual reality into it, and suddenly you have a virtual reality roller coaster. It means you can give an extra lease of life to an aging system, and also it means that you can generate more revenue by using a new property, a new ride film experience that is married to the motion of the roller coaster. If you've got bumper cars, why not rub a little bit more virtual reality into it, and suddenly, rather than ramming your friend, you're ramming Mario or another character in a video game experience. You'll see me come back to talk about different ways to take the motion ride experience and rub in an immersive experience later on. We have in England one of the first of the dark ride theme park attractions to use virtual reality, Darren Brown's Ghost Train, the marriage of a motion system, the marriage of virtual reality graphics, and also hiring members of staff in rubber suits to scare the bejesus out of the guests, all rolled into one immersive and compelling experience. And if you can't afford to have a physical ride system, then you can go for a robotic ride system. The robotic arm able to simulate different accelerations and G effects and and suddenly you don't need to build a $40 million roller coaster. You can use a $3 million robotic motion systems to achieve that level of immersion engagement. We have the horror ride experiences, and now we have the horror walkthrough experiences using wireless head-mounted tracking. You can create a very unique horror or escape room, or even go as far as trying to create a full walkthrough with means tracking to come up with an experience that really does pull the people in, and at the click of a mouse can be easily changed. So today it's the Halloween experience, click of a mouse, it's Santa Claus zombie attack. It is that kind of means of using digital media linked to immersive entertainment that is proving a compelling new element to our industry. Then we have the issue with out-of-home entertainment and home entertainment. A lot of people were assuming that virtual reality was going to be in each person's home. Now we understand that the technology needs a lot more finesse, it needs a lot more skill. Not everybody has the deep pockets or the technical ability to run their own virtual reality experiences, but they want to try it out. Suddenly we've turned VR into the equivalent of a tanning salon. You go to the facility, you pay your money, and you get to spend X amounts of hours, minutes, days in a virtual environment. Control V was one of the first to actually do this Canadian operation. Our friends at IMAX have dabbled with this. Their test project has proven a lot harder for them to get their heads around than they originally thought, and so that's going back and being reevaluated. But saying that, down the road, we're lucky enough to have the Rec Room here in Toronto, which has also added, along with their arcade machines and their miniature bowling and their dining component, they've also added a virtual reality element. And in Japan, the amusement industry and the arcade sector is still pretty strong, and they're now looking at the hybrid, the marriage of virtual reality experiences that work like an amusement system that can fit in a unique facility that can then be branded and shipped around the world. Nomadics is a company that's just raised quite a large amount of money, including investment from the shopping mall, shopping centre sector, and suddenly you're going to be seeing a lot of these kinds of retail units popping up in traditional shopping mall environments. So along with the decline of shopping and the rise of the experiential shopping experience that we've seen from people like Apple stores and the like, we're also going to see an entertainment that can be dropped into a retail unit as a pop-up entertainment offering. Then we move from the tethered VR system to the backpack VR system that allows free roaming or arena scale entertainment. We have what some people like to call laser tag 2.0, where you've got people moving in groups within the virtual environment. Backpack PC and the room scale tracking and arena scale tracking systems allow this to prove a very compelling entertainment experience. And then we have the backpack, the room scale, and an IP, a very expensive IP with Ghostbusters, a very expensive IP with Star Wars, but this is the kind of bringing a film quality experience to an interactive narrative to create a compelling marketing as well as entertainment tool. And we have that also being developed by other companies. Spaces have taken the Terminator Salvation license and created a backpack-based arena-scale entertainment offering. We have Aliens having been turned into a VR experience, and we have other companies in the works looking at taking very prominent intellectual property and deploying them in a VR experience. Jurassic World was turned into a motion ride experience for Dave & Buster's, and even the latest Angry Birds film, Angry Birds 2, is going to be turned into a virtual reality entertainment experience. You're using the draw of the IP, but also the ability to take a lot of this from the marketing budget, so proving very profitable business strategy. And then we have companies now creating omnidirectional treadmill systems that allow people to compete, and this is a plug-in or pop-up kind of experience that can be dropped into existing entertainment facilities. I mentioned the gambling sector and the land-based gaming. Just quickly, we have seen companies develop what we would call coin pushers, one unbanded kind of entertainment approach, but used in a virtual environment. And then we've seen the wagering sector, where you take virtual reality, you have people paying to play the game, but you also have people outside betting on which zombie is going to reach your head. It's that kind of skill gaming profit structure that we're seeing people invest in now. Esports is big in our sector, very big. The casino industry has doubled down on millennials being drawn to their facilities to both watch esports and to bet on esports. And we've seen a number of companies developing virtual reality esports experiences that offer both the narrative of play for the individual, but also an audience experience. And it's that audience experience that is a very compelling draw for some companies, that they can fill quite a lot of bums on seats and make quite a large amount of profit, not just from the people who pay for the tickets, but also from the sponsorship. And now esports competition is becoming very close to what we're seeing in the racing and the football and the soccer industries, with major sponsorship, leading players, and the use of virtual reality as a compelling new means for people to not just take part, but also to spectate. A couple of things about head-mounted displays that we need to address, be aware of. In our sector, out of home, we have to be very mindful of the hygiene issues. We have to be mindful of your blindfolding individuals and you're having them move around environments, so they do need attendance. And also we have the age restrictions. I'm not going to touch that. But also the other sides of the viability of our sector is that we're a money-based sector. You pay to play, as it were. So there's a lot of opportunities here, but also we need to marry this with social media to encourage people to come play for us. We can't take the standard consumer hardware and just drop it into out-of-home entertainment. We need to ruggedize it, we need to make it reliable so it can be handled, it can be dropped, it can be picked up, it can be repaired, it needs to be able to be cleaned. And we've just started working with a company that is developing, they've taken the HoloLens system and they've ruggedized it and made it suitable for application in out-of-home entertainment. And that leads us really to mixed use. Mixed reality, XR, whatever you want to call it. We've proven that AR, MR, XR is popular. Pokemon Go still, even these years after its launch, is still played by millions of people. And AR has proven a compelling platform for entertainment. We have companies developing augmented reality sports games, which also have an esports element. We've seen, as I was saying earlier, you take your go-kart or you take your bumper car and you can drop them into VR. Well, you can take your go-kart and you can use a see-through head-mounted display for AR, and you can still have that game element added to an existing entertainment franchise. And we're lucky just down the road from where we are, Battleverse, a Canadian operation that has just launched their AR entertainment systems and are finding great success with that. We have companies taking traditional video games and then placing the individual directly into the experience. And so you have AR Ping, if you don't want to pay for the license. Then you have, as I was saying earlier, a horror experience which you walk through, but thanks to the mixed use or mixed reality entertainment headset, you can now have zombies and creatures popping out of the walls and the floor. And at the click of a mouse, you can turn it into a zombie attack, or you can have it as a Santa Claus attack, or you can even go as far as seasonalizing these experiences just within the coverage of the experience. Obviously, laser tag. People are now adding augmented reality to the weapons and also to the head-mounted displays that people are wearing. And then if you don't want people wearing head-mounted displays, we are looking at the next phase of mixed-use reality entertainment, and that is projection mapping. We're deploying a lot of systems into the market that incorporate strong projection with tracking of the player's movements, and suddenly you turn a boring climbing wall into a game experience that people can watch and people want to play. If you don't want them to have a head-mounted display on, then you can give them their own personalized dome. I call this the sneeze guard, but the principles are quite simple. You're taking the dome projection system, you're scaling it down for individual usage. And then we're creating also personalized pods for individuals. The individual goes into this, and rather than just a game, it is an experiential process where they get to feel calm and relaxed, and the only problem we have is when the door opens, what you do with all the marijuana smoke spewing out. And then the full usage of projection mapping, original idea by Walt Disney's Imagineering team, is 3D projection mapping into the environment. So all of the objects are physically there, it's just that they're given life and colour and animation by the projection systems. And again, that offers a unique and a very compelling experience for for the individuals, because they feel as if everything is real, that they're not having to wear glasses, they're not having to put a head-mounted display on. Everything they see and interact with is physical. And this really leads to where we're going next with a lot of the technology that we're working on in our sector. We've gone really beyond head-mounted displays and the limitations that they bring to the table. We're now looking at total immersion projection systems. We are dropping the person into a synthetic, digitally created environment, and that fundamentally is the technology that's being used by the military and law enforcement for training, and you'll see this quite common in our sector. We usually take the stuff that works for the training industry and apply that to the entertainment industry. Anyway, I've taken enough of your time. I'd like you just to take away from my presentation that out-of-home entertainment is a viable and profitable industry. We're here to generate revenues, but we want to create repeat visitation. And also, the nice thing about our sector is that we like content. We need more and more content to feed the players that come to our facility. I've zipped through that very quickly. There's a book that was published in 2012, and the new book hopefully will be completed for the beginning of 2019. And if anybody wants to get their hands on that, they should hit me up after this presentation. But thank you very much for your time.